great to have you at the Daily Crossing. We have some exciting stuff to cover today. Alexi, great having you back in the state of Florida. Lorena, great having
Never
you
left.
back from, helping a lot of your fellow country Venezuelan people, coming into the country or something like that. By the way, that's going to be one of the things that we're going to talk about. Yes. Some of the stuff, some of the choices that the Biden administration is making when it comes to finding a way to, according to them, normalize or get a handle of the immigration situation. They don't call it a crisis. They just call it an immigration situation that we have going on right now. We're going to see what it is, and we're going to see exactly what does it mean in general. And that probably will cover most of our conversation here today. But then we do have exciting news. I don't know if you know that my youngest daughter, Malia, is a fan of Chipotle. Mm-hmm. Like between going to a fancy restaurant and stopping at Chipotle, she'll take Chipotle, believe it or not. So I believe she's going to be able to be super excited knowing that now you're going to have the kind of equipment that's going to be able to produce about 200 burritos in 1 hour. I don't know who needed that, but apparently it's going to be possible.
Have you been to Chipotle during lunch hour?
So, I to be quite honest with you, no. That's not one of my favorite destinations. But the fact of the matter is
It's like I crossed back the border to have real Mexican food.
Exactly. But listen, you're talking about a $3 billion business, you know what I mean, and a couple of even controversial issues when it comes to today, when it comes to the restaurant industry. We're going to talk a little bit about the expectation of tipping. I think that, some of us been to Europe and we know some of the countries, including in certain countries in Latin America, there's a zero expectation of tipping. They absolutely become very surprised when you put some money. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Potential government shutdown coming around. There's some internal issues, within the Republican Party. I think there's going to be a real power struggle. I think that people are going to have to negotiate in real multiple ends to be able to make sure that we don't have a government that's shut down, because a lot of people will definitely suffer. Now, talking about migrations, one of the biggest migrations that has been taking place for a while, and you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. Have you seen a lot of Republicans going to the Democrat Party? You've seen a lot of that, like in the news. Senator,
Yes.
who have you seen?
Oh, Republicans going to the Democrat Party?
Yeah,
No.
No. The biggest migration that's taking place right now is not the people that are coming from Latin America, from Mexico. Apparently, there's a bunch of Democrats that consistently, and they want to keep that very quietly, but consistently has been switching from Democrats to Republican. We're going to talk about the Georgia State lawmaker, Misha Maynard, who just recently announced back in July that she will be switching. And also, guys, the mayor of Dallas. This is a big deal because Eric Johnson, I'll give you some details about this guy, has had an amazing re-election numbers. I mean, talking about he was re-elected, literally breaking a 114-year-old record. That if you're talking about how well he did, and by the way, his reasons is not just the immigration crisis. Interesting enough, he's talking about racism as part of an internal issue with the Democrat Party. But we'll get to that. And needless to say, we definitely got to make a little bit of a reference about what's going on with Senator Bob Menendez from the state of New Jersey, who got indicted, his wife and some other people that we're gonna give you some of those names. This is the second time he gets indicted, though. It's not the first time. They saying that probably it's going to be kind of like the same scenario, like nothing is going to happen. But this guy was the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relationships. That's a powerful committee. That's not, you know what I mean? And essentially being in that position is what it appears got him in all kinds of trouble. But guys, again, welcome. I want to address a little bit this whole situation that's taking place. Here's what happened. Under pressure, that is the claim, that under a lot of pressure from governors, mayors of cities that are now experiencing the effect of that heavy load of immigration. We just came back from New York.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get enough footage from different places, but here's what I want you to know. Just in the area that everybody's talking about, the Roosevelt Hotel, like there is so many places in New York right now, in Brooklyn, there are literally shelters for people that, La Quinta Hotel in 3rd Avenue, and there was like another hotel down the road also, like literally only a few
What,
blocks.
you go
from-
driving
I'm
around?
like I was gassing up. And I'm looking at the whole thing, I'm like, oh, La Quinta is there. And the guy who worked for that, yeah, that's where, immigrants are coming in there, the army is running, and I can see somebody wearing a uniform and people coming in and out of the whole thing. So I wasn't even looking for it. It's just like literally
of them.
all over the place.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
it's a lot of facilities. It's not just one or two.
Yep.
It's a lot of facilities all throughout the state. So that triggered the whole thing about, hey, we got to do something. So here's one of the choices the Biden administration. They decided to extend, without questions, the legal status to about 472 immigrants that came here from Venezuela, making a promise that they were going to make the process, even the asylum process, as you know, Venezuela is one of those countries that is entitled to, according to the current political situation that's taking place in Venezuela, they can come into the country and request for asylum. So here's the normal process, and you know that this is really not the way it's working out, but the normal process is supposed to be about 90 days from beginning to end. But
Yeah.
you know that that's nowhere
I
near.
have people here for 6 years waiting
Correct.
for
And
answers.
they say that they're gonna make it shorter from those 90 days to 30. So instead of being 3 years waiting, probably gonna go down to maybe about a year, who knows? But again, across the board, and one of the main reasons, according to what's being described in this situation, is to make sure that the people that are arriving to New York will have work permits to go out there and get a job. It's about 13,000 people that will benefit in Chicago, and about 60,000 out of this 472. So you give or take right there, you have the 73,000 people, right, over the 400 that will benefit from this law just in those two locations alone, and then the rest of the country that has a lot of. So, guys, what's your take on this? Pros and cons, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've never had a TPS. My whole process was completely different. So this just makes the process easier for somebody that comes, from Venezuela specifically, to be able to say, hey, I'm here, and to have a temporary status protection.
Correct.
So, a lot of people don't even know that is a temporary status, a protection status. So that's something that who knows how long that's going to be. And there's not really a path to be able to stay here like legally after that, so it's just kind of like a blanket that is at some point gonna disappear.
But the process of asylum is supposed to lead to
The process of asylum, yes,
yeah.
but not the TPS.
Not
It's
the
two
TPS.
different things.
Correct.
Asylum is I'm being prosecuted in my country. I
Correct.
am no longer safe there. Let me go ahead and seek asylum, seek protection
Correct.
here. The TPS is just a temporary status, protection status, which we use. Hey, you're here. Sorry with what's going on over there. We're gonna allow you to work. We're gonna allow you to do this. But the moment things get better, then you head back over there. Like they have the opportunity to revoke this. I know that it happened for Haitians as well. People from Haiti, they removed the TPS.
Correct.
A couple of years back, and it had a tremendous impact for that community as well, because there was a bunch of people that were having a lifestyle and they were used to living in a way, and all of a sudden it was like whoop.
But
The
at
whole
this
floor
point,
was
because
shaking up.
Venezuela is almost being treated the same way that many Cuban citizens, right, get to be treated, which is you made it in here. The opportunity for the application for full asylum is there for everybody. As to whether or not
Yes.
it's going to get approved or
Yeah,
what are
that's like
the
a whole other thing.
issues.
Any
A lot of
proof
times,
and stuff like that.
the issue it deals with even the application itself that is not necessarily processed correctly. But there is a big chance for people to actually go through full.
100%.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but
Not through TPS though.
no, correct. And I do understand the fact that it is temporary. This is 500,000 people, where this is a blanket statement, right? And so that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get a little bit of the pros and cons based on how you guys see the whole thing.
Yeah, for me, I think number one, I think anything that they can do to allow someone to work and get closer to being a productive, member of the society, I think that's a good thing. The problem is I think it's still not enough. I think 500,000 is nowhere near enough for with the amount of people that are coming in on a daily basis to say, all right, it sounds like a big number. It's not a big enough number. And then also, I don't know how they pick and choose. All right, so people from Venezuela, we're gonna, allow you to get this,
There's four countries right now that qualify for it. For TPS, no questions asked. That's Venezuela, Haiti, Nicaragua, and
regardless of what it is. To me, it's a little weird sometimes. Like, all right, so then what about the other 99 countries that are still here? They're still dealing with issues.
So your position right now would be good, so that people can get to work.
Yep.
But not enough considering the amount of people.
Yeah, it should be more.
You should say, and it should be extended.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. What do you think?
I don't necessarily. This is not a real resolution to anything. In my opinion, I mean, my heart breaks for what's happening in my country is terrible, and I just don't think that there's a real solution here in the hands of. So this is more of kicking the can down the road, in my opinion. So great, you're gonna have protection for a small period of time. Here's what's gonna happen though. These people that are moving, they're usually around our age.
Yeah.
They're having children. They're having that. So it's like at some point, what do you do with this so-called temporary status, where you just put in a Band-Aid on them when they're like literally bleeding out, So there's no real path for you to be able to get something. More than likely, children are going to be born that are going to be American citizens because they're born here. It automatically makes them American citizens. So what are you going to do with those families? Are you going to separate the parents? Are you going to keep the children here?
Yeah.
What happens with? Are you going to have to take everybody in? Give them a path to citizenship. All of those different things are not taken into account. It's just a very temporary for everybody. So I honestly don't believe that anybody benefits from it. I mean, it's a good. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people have the opportunity to work right here, right now, but it's not a long-term solution.
No, I get you. And even though it may be a temporary solution, temporary is better than none. You get what I'm saying? So I'd rather you give me an opportunity to make money today, even if that's only going to last 6 months. 6 months is a long time to go, I don't know how I'm going to make money. Or not only that, I feel like if they don't have this, they're more likely to resort to something that's going to be under the table. People are going to take advantage of them, or they're doing something illegal, So then to me, it's more likely that they're going to do something that will be better for them in the long run.
Yeah, but that is already happening with people from other countries. That's already happening with everywhere.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is maybe if they would have extended this to more people, it would happen less. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, but that gives you back the whole point of like, okay, so then now I'm gonna have to. I don't think that that's the best thing to do. Is hey, welcome, come everybody. Like you keep on saying like this is very a welcoming thing. Oh, we're just gonna extend this, extend that. So it just keeps on saying, bring everybody in, versus there being an actual policy that fixes and addresses the situation at the border.
We got a couple of components that we got to consider, right? One of them is the legal aspect of a process where, people will wait for years just to be able to get a visa approved, just to be able to make it into the country, and they looking at this whole situation and saying, it doesn't really pay to follow the law, right? When everybody is just going to break it, and somewhere, somehow, beyond incentivized, is going to be rewarded. You know what I mean? For already like cutting the line. That's been, guys. That has been an argument already, probably over 50, 60 years, right? Now, the other thing is that we do have a bunch of people here. We have millions of people in this country. They came from other places. And at some point, you have to deal with that reality, because that's a physical reality. Pretending that they're not here and ignoring the whole issue is also not helping the situation, right? But I will tell you, and I will argue when it comes to working, TPS or no TPS, if you came from another country and your intention was to really bust your ass, you're going to be working.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, like you're going to find a way that now, as to whether or not this is going to truly offer a path to legalization, and how is going to be the long-term support. That still is, it doesn't quite answer unless somebody is able to qualify through asylum. But the issue here, does this become an incentive for more people to say, okay, so now I really just got to get there. My wife was asking me a question yesterday. She was saying, but wait a minute, I see that everybody's just walking in. Border Patrol is like standing there. You can see a lot of videos today happening like that, where normally the way this whole thing worked was you were actually hiding from Border Patrol. You were not, like today, the idea is like, I just got to get there and I'm going to surrender myself to them. Somebody's going to take me in, somebody's going to move me from one state to another state, and then somebody at this point, it appears to, I'm also going to be able to get a work status. Now, let me, who actually benefits if these people are already here, right? And we have a lot of people that obviously, as you can see, already made it here. And now you're going to be able to do, by doing, even if it's only TPS, right? Now you're starting a registration process. Is it a good idea for us to register every single person and have a way of tracking to where they are, what the real name, and even maybe have the opportunity to do a little bit of a background check on those individuals? I think that's helpful. Is it good for the country if now they actually go from being part of an underground economy, which is really what happens for people that don't get a chance to have access to any of these things, to actually put them in a place where they're going to be able to now pay taxes if they get a job?
Yes.
And those things, again, so far so good, right? This appears to be a positive thing. The problem is that...
Did you know more than anybody else that people that are undocumented here, they still find a way to pay taxes?
If they want to, yes. If they want to. And meaning, I know for a fact, and I can't even tell you how many people went through a process of literally filing for a tax ID number. It was zero benefit when it came to the legal path, legalization. But they wanted to say, I don't want anybody to claim I don't pay taxes.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like they were absolutely doing that. So everybody has the opportunity, but that almost goes back to the argument of, a lot of people that claim that all of us should be paying more taxes, but they don't want to volunteer giving the money, right? You know what I mean? They're just volunteering everybody else's money. So in this case, you actually did have some people that say, hey, I want to do that, but that doesn't mean that everybody's going to do it. But there's a couple of issues in here. Again, the whole thing that, listen, this doesn't come as a solution for a problem that has been happening for God knows how many years around the borderline. This is now, this is something that literally, the term under pressure, well, who's putting the pressure? The border states has been begging and crying and asking for some kind of solution. But now is the Illinois, the New Yorks, the Bostons, all of these major cities and states that are having issues, there are Democrat cities and with Democrat governors and mayors that are saying something has to be done. So this came about mostly out of that conversation, right? So, but still, again, we go back to, is this a permanent solution? Let me tell you how bad the whole situation is. A while ago, I did a video about a train that runs through Mexico and literally comes all the way to the border. They refer to it as La Bestia, the beast, right? And here you have, Alexi, people that would jump into this train. And listen, man, when it's summer, when the heat is on, you're talking about people that are sitting on top of this thing. You're talking about people that are like literally burning up. It's no joke, right? Yeah. But worse than that, at night when everybody's already falling asleep, so many people have fallen not just off the train, but fallen into in between the cars of the train. Yeah. And you're talking about amputations. You're talking about people that died. Yeah. You're talking about, so it's so bad that the Union Pacific, which is what controls especially the border area, is saying we're going to stop the train from coming in. That's how bad the crisis happens to be, to minimize it. So when you see situations like this, the problem, what most average Americans are saying, this is just going to become an incentive for people to say, okay, now we really got to go. We got to go now because this is the moment to make it happen. And guys, what I'm explaining to you is two different realities. The reality of, in one end, how do we fix a problem that this doesn't really fix? No different than what happened here in the state of Florida. That was not a national
It's not a
solution.
solution,
That
no.
still wasn't even a solution for the state.
Nope.
You know. In addition to that, what do we do with the people that are already here? And this is not an easy topic because the whole thing about immigration is this has been a lose-lose conversation. So almost like everybody loses. There's no happy winners in this whole situation. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I wanted to get a little bit of your pros and cons about the whole thing, just because I want you to understand how complex. If you say something that's too much in favor for it, oh, you just want you want another 20 million immigrants to come into the country. It's like, yeah. And then we can argue about the benefits of immigration coming into, but he's saying, okay, so I get it. It should be legal immigration. People that have been waiting, processing, spending money, trying to build it, that fulfill the requisites, you know what I mean? How do we expedite that process? Because obviously it's not working well, and it's one of the reasons. The other thing is, how do you deal with poverty, crime, corruption on all the neighboring countries that we have to the south of United States? Because it's also another thing that's triggering this whole situation. And then you have the people that are already here. They've been here. Listen, the DACA babies,
Yeah. It's
right?
So sad.
You're talking about something
Yeah.
that they were born here. Listen, imagine.
No, they were not born here. They were brought here as children.
As children, right?
You have like 3, 4, 5-year-olds
Well,
that they don't know anything but the U.S. and they're like,
English is their main language.
Yeah.
The history of the United States is the history they know. They grew up in for all intents and purposes, in a completely Americanized perspective and environment. And now
they're in limbo.
They in
cannot
limbo.
work, they cannot drive, they cannot.
And I don't know if you know that right now one of the Republican candidates, Vivek Ramaswamy, is literally saying or suggesting that if you were born of illegal parents in the country, you should not be granted citizenship.
Ooh.
That's a whole different animal.
Wow.
That's your boy.
Yeah, that's my
boy.
Makes sense.
So all right. So
Yeah.
what are you guys thinking about this?
No, so, like I
Right,
said, for
remember,
me-
we represent not the people that are going to pull out the law degree and is going to explain to you
Yeah.
all this whole issue of it. What we represent right now, guys, in this conversation is you trying to even understand what would
the
be the
heck?
right opinion about this whole situation. Should we help it? How?
Yeah.
What is the right way to help it? What is the right thing to do in a situation like this? And how do we take a position that will respect the laws of the country, will highlight the fact that there is a humanitarian crisis taking place, and will recognize the fact that this is not going to stop ever unless we find a different way of doing it.
So for me, I'm a fan of. I have zero issues with people deciding to come to this country. Why? Because my grandmother was one of the people who came to this country. My life would not be the same.
I'm right here, bro.
No, I know. A little different. I know.
I was
He's
the
like,
one that
how do you want to do that?
Right,
He's like, I went all the way back to my grandmother.
Correct,
but,
correct. No one around me here, right? But seriously. But I know people who benefited from coming to this country.
Including
so,
you.
Correct. No, but that's what I'm saying. So I wouldn't want to take that away from anybody. Now, obviously, does that mean that everyone who comes here is thinking to do something that's positive or thinking to follow? We know that there's going to be people where that's not the case. I feel like we got to deal with those as two separate issues. I think there's zero things wrong with more people coming if they're going to be working, if they're going to be producing, if that makes the country better. There's nothing wrong with that. So I feel like any way that I can get more people to come and they will be legal or they'll have access to working, no one's taking advantage of them, they can come in a way to where they don't gotta swim across a river or jump over. I'm with that 100%. So that's what I want, is more people come in a way where they don't gotta feel like, oh my gosh, I gotta die to make it to America, because they're gonna come no matter what.
No, but
That's what I feel like.
But that's what's happening.
No, but I feel like the reason why it's happening because we're not giving them enough opportunities to come. Like, hey, open the door, come, sit down here, fill out these papers, here's the process that you're gonna have to go. I feel like we're not doing that because for some reason I think there's a group of people who don't want them here at all.
I would say that's part of the.
And then because they don't want them here, they're trying to create all these
Well, doing
things
it
that's
that way,
stopping
it
them
takes
from coming.
really freaking long.
But
Like
that's
I'm
the
talking
point.
about,
That's the point.
like 5 years, if not more.
We can
Why?
agree. We can
Yeah.
agree that that's part of the issue. The part of the issue is, for example, listen, guys. We have access to just about everything and anything here, and by now, even people that came into the country. I mean, in her case, younger than me, but came into the country. By now, we take so many things for granted.
Yeah.
So many things for granted. Like the simple fact that we have access to information about so many things.
Yeah.
And the simple fact that we can go anywhere and request for some kind of update about the status of anything that we're processing right now, you can find information about that. Even internally, as a guy that went through a process of citizenship, the amount of the flow of information is not as efficient as it should be.
Yeah.
And it still has a lot of red tape when it comes to, so that internally is already so now take that and put it on a third world country where some people don't even have, I mean today maybe just about everybody has a cell phone, we argue, right? Absolute information that will require you to travel from this little town in the middle of nowhere to the capital city. That alone means that you don't have the budget to do that, and you got to go justified, right? While you are applying for a visa, and the requirements of that visa alone. Forget about legal path to say what I'm looking for. What I'm actually applying for is not just a visa. I'm actually applying for a work permit already. Like so opposed to just saying visa. I'm going out there. I just want to go work out there. I'm between the ages of 18 and 45. I'm a real working able body, and so, and I'm looking for. We don't have a simple path that will embrace that will make it easy for the people out there. It's a lot easier. I promise you, because my wife was even asking me, how I don't understand the situation. She said, it breaks my heart to see mothers with children. She's like, I don't know that I will be able or willing, she said, to do that. And I said, because you never experience the level of poverty,
and there's no other
fear that somebody's going to kidnap, kill your child, or turn them into a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Right. Listen, just recently in Mexico, we had an episode. 2 or 3 young guys were taken into a warehouse. And the purpose of that meeting was to say, hey, you got to come work for us. This is one of the cartels. From now on, you work for us. And they say, no, we don't want to be in the... They killed it. They killed it, all right? So if I'm a father, if I'm a mother, and I know that's one of the potential risks that my children are going to... Hey, I got to get them out of here.
Correct.
Right? And so the reasons for people to come, whether we like it or not, understand that, accept it or not, are powerful reasons. There's no wall. I promise you, there is no wall that's going to stop that.
I get
You can. The reason why I'm saying a port of entry, so that you can find out who they are, create a registration process, so that at least as a country, as a way of protecting ourselves, knowing that we're not going to be able to stop it, but at least we adding a layer of protection for us inside of the country, for every American to know, okay, so Alexis Smith, tell me a little bit, like, there's got to be a sequence of questions,
I get you.
And that would allow you to do that.
To me, sorry to cut you, I don't think that process needs to take 5 years, a year, not even 90 days.
Yes, but it does.
But it shouldn't. And to me, the fact that it's taken so long, that's just proof that there's entities that don't want people to come. That's it. Because if you have somebody like,
but and there are also, not only there are entities that don't want people to come, there are strong arguments as to why they don't want people to come. You know what I mean? And this whole idea that we don't want to change the makeup of the country, right? We don't want to change the what defines the country culturally. The problem with that.
What do you mean? America was built by immigrants.
But even outside of that argument, guys, because that still just kind of like gets a bad feeling to a lot of people. Like, I truly understand somebody is saying we have to keep an eye on what already is in structure because it has been good, it has been a blessing. And when you have something good, you naturally want to protect it. What people don't understand, and is not quite clear, is that simply saying we don't want to change it and we want to be, we want to slow down the amount of people coming in here
Yeah.
is not going to stop
Correct.
this component. So what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that people get so distracted about which one is the valid argument that they are ignoring the reality of the many people that are coming, will continue to come. Mark my words for it. Like, I'm gonna tell you something that I know as a country, we're gonna get to the point. This is gonna happen. It's gonna come a moment. There will be a moment where we actually gonna be asking for people to come.
Mm.
That's just gonna be it has everything to do with the natural drop of birth rate that we are experiencing, not only in this country but across the globe. You know what I mean? Europe is being decimated right now. They're not able to get. Japan is projected by 2050, 2060 to be cut in half of their current population. I don't even know what the hell is going to happen to the real estate. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
I get
All
you.
those things are like the impact. There is a negative impact to the expansion and the growth of people, but there's going to be also negative impact with the population. And for everybody that's green movement friendly, I'm sure you cannot wait for the planet to go back to be half of what it is right now. But there are consequences to that. And so, and so able bodies, people that are actually coming to get married, have children, are going to keep the
Yeah, I get you.
population levels at a healthy
To me,
level.
I don't
And
see
young.
that. So
Yeah.
here's my thoughts on it. How long does it take somebody to get a bank account? If I walk into a bank, how long would it take me to get a bank account? What, maybe an hour? Less?
Depends. What do you?
How less? How long?
Like-
Banks are not that helpful.
No, I'm just saying. How long would it take me
You
if
can
I
do
walk
it
into?
online,
You can do it.
technically.
So how long? Like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah,
10
yeah,
minutes.
15
If
minutes.
if I wanted to do my taxes, how long should that take? Maybe an hour, 2 hours. If you're really complicated, a couple hours. If I were to go to jail, how long does it take them to process me?
30 minutes.
So there should be no reason why to do
depends.
it.
Are
Yeah,
you-
it depends.
Are you white or are you African?
Right. Let's just say on average a couple hours at most. So if to go to jail, do my taxes, get a bank account, all of these things can be done in one day. There is zero reason why if somebody who's brand new in the country, I don't care if they have zero documents, you should be able to get everything you need for them done in one day. That's how long it should take.
You know
One
why?
day.
Can you?
That's it.
So check out what you're saying because it's so important. A bank account
Mhm.
is a private entity.
Yep.
Your taxes is being processed for the government, but it's done by a private entity.
Got you.
And jail is a whole other thing.
Yeah,
There's
this is
also
private person. Yeah, I
right?
get you.
So it makes sense
Yeah.
that there's a level of efficiency.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. This needs to be somebody like
Not a,
the people who, who created Facebook or Amazon or one of these individuals to say, you know what? I think I can take over this.
I
problem."
don't know that I want those guys determining who can come and who
saying
can go.
not them, but I'm saying the
Oh.
same technology that we
Systems in
use
place,
to
technology.
have
Yeah, I get
millions
that.
of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
subscribers
I get that.
or billions.
All I'm
I
saying,
think we can do this.
All I'm saying, the whole TPS thing is not a real
I get you.
solution.
I get
It
you.
is just
I get you.
as temporary as it comes, and
But
it doesn't
you
solve
do
the
realize that
problem.
we
of-
already had a 45-minute conversation about this issue, and at this very moment,
There's no real solution.
we still don't have the ability to land. And the reason why I intentionally I said
Yeah.
pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
Because I do
Pros, younger
you know,
population, people that are working.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. You bringing people out of the shadows. I agree with all of those arguments are because again, I am accepting the fact that, you know what I mean. People sometimes become a little delusional when it comes to this argument, and I'm only saying it from the fact that I'm accepting the fact that we're talking about people that are already here.
Yes.
Right now, my concern is this truly becomes an incentive.
I get it.
You're incentivizing people to say, all I gotta
Welcome.
do, because if we don't get
I
a
don't mind
handle
that,
of the whole
though.
situation. But again, my problem is not with people coming in. I agree with you. I don't think it's nothing, I don't see anything unhealthy about that. My problem is, because listen, what's actually happening here, right? You have people that usually, most people from Latin America, family values, Christians, they hardworking people. Like you don't have the nature of these individuals is actually very positive with a lot of good values that come into the
Exactly.
country. You don't have. Do you have people that come into this country that are also criminals? 100%. That would be undeniable. And it would be
Yeah, but that's
delusional
not
from
the
my part to
majority.
say. but not only but my point to you is that I respect the fact that somebody's saying one criminal, it's already one too many, and it shouldn't happen. I agree with you. So
Fix it.
while we keep arguing about what is real and what is not real, that is like one of the main issues that I have no problem for somebody to be immediately deported, but don't deport him back to just Mexico or to somewhere in Central America. I mean, send this guy to Africa. Like, you have no way to even cross the, like, send him so far out that, like, you just drop it in an island somewhere and say, okay, what happened here? Like, somebody that killed somebody that abused a child, somebody that killed a young person, or somebody that, like, goes, bro, like, drop.
Back Guantanamo.
Yeah. Drop. I mean, I didn't want to say it one time, but now that you mention it,
Hey.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
like, seriously,
No,
there's
yes.
got to be some
Yeah.
serious consequences, and that's the problem. We're playing around, even with the consequences side of it. Like, we're not quite clear when somebody does wrong. We're gonna put you through a system. No, you don't belong in our system. If you actually did something where the country was generous enough to give you the opportunity, the possibility, to say
Or that
maybe you're
you
not a
sneak
bad
in.
person.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, you already sneak in, and now the country says, "Okay, listen, you're here already." You know what I mean, let's,
Yes.
what do we do with this guy? What do we do with this person? And then you choose to live a life of crime, and you decided to be a criminal, bro. You need to be dropped on an island somewhere.
Yeah.
Like make sure there is no possibility for you
Yeah.
to make it back in. But that one component is the one that I've been arguing on terms of making the system faster, making the system leaner, making the system talent friendly. Like I see it from the
Yeah.
perspective of recruiting. You know what I mean?
I
It's
get
like
you. Yeah.
and also doing it in a way that we don't have this additional cost to the taxpayers. Because guys, like, a lot of money was, and now you had people saying it's an average right now. It's an average of about $7,000 that's going out in a monthly basis when it comes to vouchers from hotels to, like, if you add it all up,
Yeah.
right? That's what they put in forward for a couple, for a family. Are you getting $7,000 per month right now? Will that help you a little bit right now? If it was somebody would say, Alexa, listen,
Just
here's
for
what
no
you're gonna
reason.
do. No reason.
I like it. I'll
You're
take
just
it.
here. You just make sure
Sure.
you wake up
No,
healthy in the morning
that's
tomorrow.
not-
We're gonna. Do you understand?
Can I point something else
Yeah.
out? Funny enough, this happened right just before an election season starts kicking off. You know, so good Grandpa Biden put this in place.
Mhm.
How nice of him to be able to do it. How many people have actually been moved by this and saying, man, thank you for that. Let me go ahead and keep you on. To be honest with you, because just as much as there are a bunch of people that are completely turned off by this,
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that are saying, with a great level of gratitude, Mandy, you gave me the opportunity. I'm a U.S. citizen. You gave me the opportunity to keep one more person here. So, and guess what? It's for 2 years, right? Something like that.
Mhm,
So it will expire
Yeah.
right before
Gotcha.
another election,
Oh, 1,000%.
where you can actually go right into
Gonna
it.
hand
So
it over to-
all I'm saying is this is a temporary thing, and they keep on doing the same damn thing.
All right,
They
but
play with your feelings,
here's-
they play with it, and then boom.
Based on what you're saying, here's the only thing that I want to tell the American people, right? Because of the mismanagement of the policies, and because of the game playing
Yeah.
that most of these politicians do, instead of hating the politician who's playing around, instead of voting them out, instead of heckling them, like, you know, Ocasio experienced just recently,
That's funny though.
and Mayor Adams is not able to hide anywhere these days without being heckled. Instead of hating these people that don't understand, remember, they just got here. They really don't understand that they happen to be a pawn on a political chess game. And why don't we address the politicians that don't want to fix this issue? Why don't we go after them? Why don't we make the conversation a conversation of accountability? Because I will tell you, I know for a fact that as long as things continue to be economically and again, crime, violence, drugs throughout Latin America, you're gonna have people that will continue to
Yeah.
come, and not only from the continent, but now, as you can see, it's coming from other places. But anyway, guys, after almost an hour, the fact of the matter is, we still didn't get a chance to fix the problem.
Yeah.
No.
Because one of it is not up to us. Second of all, this is not an easy topic. This is not an issue that is going to be easy to handle. I don't know how
I think my solution is the best solution.
let them in.
Yeah, let them in.
Let them in.
We're gonna get our good friends at Disney
Okay.
and our good friends at Amazon to come together and help this thing
Keep
work.
doing a job and
Yep, yep,
get
yep,
everybody working.
I don't know if everybody's gonna work. I don't know about
Okay.
that, but I'm saying
Okay.
we can
What
at
do you
least
mean?
get them in registered, so we know who you are, we know where you are.
Yeah, but
And that's the step in the right direction.
Where I'm at right now is
Yeah.
not even a question of more people or let them in.
Yeah.
Where I'm at is they are coming in
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah,
And what I want to promote is some kind of registration
Correct.
so that we know who they
Correct.
are.
Yeah, and
What
it shouldn't
can
take
we
5
do
years.
with that information? What can we do with that
Yeah.
in terms of knowing as to whether or not this is a working able body that should become productive and we should encourage? Again, the person is going to be here.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a legal economy. There is a sub-economy in that
Mhm.
legal economy.
Yeah.
There is an unregistered economy, and there is an illegal
Correct,
economy. And they are going to function in
Yeah.
one of those economies.
Exactly.
And so what I'm saying is for safety, for protection,
Yep.
and maybe even for the possibility that we can turn people outside, away from being a political pawn for this game that politicians keep playing without bringing a real solution. I do not agree with the idea of anybody. If you were born in the land, you should never be denied because you're
citizenship.
talking about that would be because if I was sitting with Vivek right now, I will say
He wouldn't be a citizen.
your argument your
crazy.
argument is an abortion argument. Literally, if you're saying that it's okay that a child is going to be born somewhere where you have zero control of your own, then what you're saying is okay for somebody to say, now I'm 100% arguing for that child not being born at all. So you're opening the door as a Republican, as a family person, as a guy that is pro-life. He's doesn't understand how much of a dangerous line
That could
he's
be.
yeah that is. So I hope he steps away from that position. It's not a healthy position. But
Yeah.
anyway, guys, listen. Let's go straight into this migration that's taking place. Talking about
Migration.
Democrats that are frustrated. Let's stick to migration, right?
Are Republicans gonna build a wall for this?
I'm gonna tell you, but just so that you know, like
That's right.
a lot of the Democrats
Yeah.
that are switching over to Republicans right now, this is one of the issues
Yeah.
that they've been very frustrated about. But so you have Misha Maynard, right? She announced she was switching, frustrated, does not accept, what I mean, where the Democrat Party is heading to. A lot of these issues about family, children, education, is really not something that they want to go for. But the most significant thing taking place, the mayor of Dallas, though, this is a guy that just to give you some stats about him. This is a man that got literally first time he gets elected is in 2019, first elected. Eric Johnson, phenomenal, rising star, current mayor of Dallas. He gets reelected in May 2023 with 98.7 of the vote.
Oh wow.
I mean, he ended up.
Seriously?
He ended like, listen, that's like a that's
three
a
people that
clean
voted against him.
sweep,
Yeah, correct.
And like,
Who was running
that's
against
what I'm
him?
saying, bro.
I'm like, you have to
like-
be
Nobody.
so bad.
No, you don't even want to say that you were
Bro.
running against the guy. You just don't even want to say
gonna
like, I
look
was
it up.
me. No. You want to
Oh my
remove your name from
Yeah,
that
right.
moment of
Walk away.
history
Back away.
because that's shellacking. That's literally talking about an old-fashioned beating. We're talking about the level of support.
Yeah.
98.7%.
How do you argue against
Like
that?
you don't, so imagine when was the last time we had a president that had more than 60% or
No.
more than 50%?
Yeah, I can't remember.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
so this is a likable guy. This is somebody who earned the trust of people and is literally saying. And by the way, his claim is not just the frustration of a lot of the political stance that we take in. His issue is, listen, there's a big issue internally when it comes to the Democrats, and apparently, there is or still is an issue with racism within. He said it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room that nobody wants to talk about. He obviously, for somebody to make a statement like that, already playing at that level, getting elected with those numbers, Alexi. This is a guy that experienced something that was definitely not pleasant and very unhealthy to make a choice like that.
No, I get you. Yeah. So it's weird because I feel like he's gonna be in for a rude awakening at the end of the day. He's like, well, across the street, they don't treat me like that. Yeah, they're gonna shoot you like that too. But at the end of the day, I feel like you're gonna run into.
I don't believe that for a second.
I do. If he thinks that there's an issue with racism on one side and it's not on the other
That's
side,
what you were about to say. You're just gonna go from one plantation to another. I thought you were about to say that.
It's not that
You know
far.
what I mean?
But I don't believe that. To me, just the whole switching parties idea it's a little ridiculous to me because I feel like there is no rules that says that a Democrat has to think this way or a Republican has to think that way. And I feel like if everyone was to switch every time they get mad at something, then I feel like the parties don't change. You should be able to say, no, I am this, but I believe something different from these other 10 individuals.
But they have changed, though.
Right.
Like
100%.
today, Joe Biden wouldn't been able to get elected based on his political views 20 years ago.
Gotcha. Yes. I get it. But that's what I'm saying. So then,
Bill Clinton would be right, not a centrist
John F.
president
Kennedy
to
would
the
have been
right.
a Republican
no,
today.
no, I know, but that's my point. So then, if they are changing, then I don't need to say, all right, guys, I'm taking off this jersey, put on another. It doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, if you believe in a certain thing, and the majority of the people in that party believe that thing, then that's the views of the Democrats. But I don't think it's necessary for you to say, oh, no, I got to change offices
Of course,
and go
of
across.
course,
I don't
of
think
course,
it's necessary.
Yeah. Look,
I
if let's talk about politics, specifically, and this is what I'm looking at, right? And you're talking about the party that aligns with. I'm saying this as a registered Democrat. This is hilarious. But the hypocrisy.
No, but you proving my point right now.
No. No, but let me
Why don't
tell
you
you something.
switch?
She hasn't had the chance to speak.
I haven't been. I don't even know where to go. No, I'm just kidding. I do gotta do something about it. I'm doing it because I'm infiltrated in the process.
Man.
I just threw myself
Fine.
under the bus. Huh?
Go ahead.
No, but check this out. If the party does no longer what are you gonna run? If you're supposed to be competing for the primary, let's say this guy wants to run for president, he's competing in the primary, and he's running with his values and principles. There is no way he's gonna be able to be elected in the current Democratic Party. So it is a politics move, and you do have to switch the jersey.
I get it. I understand.
Right now, whenever I have to go vote in the primary, I don't know what the
There's-
hell am I gonna do.
There's a little more than that, though. You know what I mean?
I don't know. That's the way
I'm
I'm
going to tell
looking
you.
at it.
I mean, in all fairness,
Yeah.
you can go through a process where you really discovering. It's not just a question of the evolution of positions. You know what I mean? Is that you really discovering that as you get deeper into this process, you start connecting with different things. You have no choice but to make a choice.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And I think that what's actually happening to somebody like him is that the deeper that he has gone into it. Guys, listen, there was a time when I was truly able to say, I will flip a coin if I believe that the two candidates that are running for president are halfway decent. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to be great, halfway decent. We haven't had halfway decent in a long time in this country running for president, right? And so it's the least of both evils that people are choosing today.
Yeah, correct.
And when you look at the stuff,
By the way,
today,
choose the evil though, because it's
But you still, but my point to though is that today there is no way, in good conscience, that today I will be able to support the Democrat Party. Like they used to be. I literally wasn't 50% right here, 50% wrong there. But that's the situation on both political parties.
Yeah.
Today, that's separated based on my own discovery and acceptance of things that matter to me. and just pure common sense. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things. Listen, the governor of the state of California just vetoed the bill that was going to allow people to use the argument when it came to getting divorced, right? And the argument of separation, who was going to have custody of the children, based on as to whether or not that parent will be respectful of the gender choice or the gender identity. And this guy, who I know is already thinking about, I'm going to have to be the one running for president here, because Joe Biden probably won't even make it to the, like, this man is about to jump in. And he's playing it so, I mean, he's doing such a great job. I didn't want to step away from this conversation, but I want you to know that the reason why this is taking place, he had to veto the bill that everybody's expecting, that if they pass it, he's going to sign it. No. Because at the end, he said, this is at a national level.
It's gonna
Like, this makes sense here.
Yeah.
Like, we have our own little circus going on. We have a little, this is a little psychotic.
What is it?
Getting spanking. I mean, this guy's like,
God.
what the hell? You know what I mean? So so we have our own little crazy going on here, and it's okay here. But once you take it on a national level, there's some things that now you start asking yourself, okay, what do I really agree with at a national level? Because it's not that we don't have issues in our state, but those are not issues that we worry about. You know what I mean? Like, there's other things that we do need to be concerned about, but that's not one of them. And so my point to you is that this guy, I can see him, and I do, if anything, Alexi, I think it's necessary that somebody will take a position, because you know how we say that the fish is the only guy who doesn't know he's surrounded by water? I think that these two political parties get to the point sometimes, for periods of time, they really don't understand what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. I keep saying that the Republican Party right now is mishandling, squandering, what they can potentially do when it comes to this issue of immigration. Like, they're missing the whole point. They're missing it. And by not doing that, guess what? It's a vacuum of leadership. Somebody else has got to come.
So, like I was saying, at the end of the day, I'm not mad at him for switching, from Democrat to Republican. I just feel like if this continues, because this is not the only person we're hearing about doing this, then it doesn't help the other party, and they're still gonna exist. So unless we're gonna make to where, all right, so then if let's say there's 100 people, period. Once it goes 80-20, it makes no sense to have that party. What's the point of the party at that point? If 80% of all the politicians are Republican, why even have the Democrat Party? Like, what's the point of it? It makes no sense. So, and that's not going to happen, but here's what's going to happen. Now you're going to have the worst 20% that has zero sane people in that group, and it's gonna get that much more ridiculous, because now the one person who would have made sense in that group, they done left and jumped ship. They switched over. It's like, oh, there's zero.
I know what you're saying.
for that
I know what you're
now,
saying, but but think about when you're talking about who's carrying the bigger voice, who's making the more noise. It's a small group. And you're talking about a national level. So at some point, you got to let the crazies just be crazy and stay in your corner. You know what I mean? And do
Move to
whatever you
California
got.
now.
Like 100%.
Turn them into a whole
Listen,
other
every
country.
time I get somebody, friends that, listen, we came from New York, you know what I mean? Every time a friend of mine saying, I'm thinking about moving out there, I said, you just keep your crazy shit out there. Don't bring it to us. Like,
Correct.
I want to make sure that you realize. And so that's pretty much the way it is, though. I don't. Right now we are in a very misguided way, evenly divided. I don't think that we should be that evenly divided. I think that at this point, this country,
honestly, Coach, I don't think we are evenly divided as a country. Media
voting wise, though. Remember, it's not.
Yeah, but it's
I understand
because
what you're
you're
saying.
being manipulated by media. But it's like when you're talking about core values and principles, and then there's people that are like, I've subscribed to the party, and so seeing this happen is actually gonna make some people really pay attention
But
to
then
what's
people
going
have
on.
to take ownership of it, though, because at the end of the day, you can't say, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, but I'm gonna keep voting for it.
Yeah, no, that's
That makes zero sense.
For who? A person or a party?
the party.
The party, but that's what I'm saying. So if they're subscribing to a party, I'd rather have more diversity in the party, because now who are they going to vote for? Who in the world are they gonna vote for?
Yeah, but
No,
I can't see it. But you can't see it just based on diversity, though. You got to see it based on
This next
at this
election cycle
point.
is gonna
At
be-
this
Yeah, I know it's
point,
gonna be crazy.
you know,
Tell.
at this point, there's got to be first of all, I mean, just simple, plain common sense.
Yeah.
And then there are things that are not healthy that nobody in their right mind will agree to. When I'm watching the news, guys, and I'm listening to people saying that it is for the health of the children, or when I'm listening to somebody reading
For the health of the children, what?
reading some of these books,
Yeah, yeah. I know what
it
you're
is for the health of the children to you know, is literally for mental health, that we want to make sure that they have access to this gender identity support at early stages, and we
crazy.
have to allow these things. Guys, this is not a question. I want for everybody to be as stable as possible. I just happen to be part of a community that do not agree with the idea that some of these conversations should be conversations when they are so early on.
Yeah, that's
You know, the
ridiculous.
same way that any conversation that deals with any kind of sexual material, and you're introducing books in certain places, and there are some people that are saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. What do you mean there's nothing wrong with that? And we never went into the content of some of these books
Yeah.
in a way that if one of us decided to say, let me just read it to you so
Yeah.
you understand what
Let me show you
We'll
a
get
picture.
flagged.
Have you
and
seen the picture?
maybe we're
We'll
gonna
get
have to
flagged.
get to the point where one day we'll do a live reading about
Yeah.
what's going on there so the people can understand. So you cannot say, my point is, you can't say I don't agree with that, but you're gonna keep voting for the same thing. Every single one of us have to take ownership
I get
about
you.
this process,
I get
because
you.
otherwise
Speaking
it's
of
not
books,
acceptable. Yes.
You know a book everybody needs to read? I
Which
think?
one?
Thomas Sowell's new book. He came up with a book called
What's the name of
Social
it?
Justice Fallacies.
Social justice fallacies.
Mhm.
I think that was around for a little bit.
No. It
is
just
there a new
dropped
one?
September
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a
'Cause
round of.
He was
Yeah,
doing a couple of videos,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, about that.
Says-
show a picture.
However attractive the social justice vision, the crucial question is whether the social justice agenda will get us on to the fulfillment of that vision. History shows that the social justice agenda is often led in the opposite direction, sometimes with catastrophic consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
So yeah, we'll get the book.
With that being said, guys, you know, I want to move on from that whole situation, but
Talk about burritos.
but I think it is an important thing that. By the way, yeah, let's take 3 minutes just to say it. So
That's an
I
important
don't know
conversation.
which one of you is Chipotle friendly.
I like Chipotle.
I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Chipotle. I have the
Yeah.
app. It's
Wow.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my
Excited
daughter has
about it.
company. That's why
Yes,
she's
of
always
course.
hanging out with
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys.
yes.
You know what I mean? But
Yes. We're also younger.
it's a $3 billion business. You know what I mean? When you're talking about preparing digital orders,
Mhm.
and what they are solving for is precisely this digital environment, less in person or less of a line waiting for. It's a pre-order. The system is going to be able to put it together, have it ready for you, and you can. Now, are you going to be able to get extras? You know?
Yes, you can. You can on the app. 100%. Of course, you
Oh,
can
But
on
the
the app.
machine can do all that.
But it's a measurement. I'm
It's
assuming.
gonna cost you
freaking
opposed
AI
to-
can like write your
That's true.
thesis.
Opposed to right now, you have Jose in front of you preparing. He's like, come on, bro.
Wink twice.
Yeah.
I
But
got you.
Yeah.
Here's my only
Put a-
concern about
put
this
a little
whole.
more rice on that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
You know, double whack, double. Yeah.
My only concern about this is who's making the guacamole and is it gonna stay
It's gonna be a
as
machine.
delicious?
A machine.
Well,
We'll
as of this moment, but I believe it's just the whole process of putting it together and wrapping up. How the whole thing is going to come about,
Yeah.
and who's going to
There's
make
gotta
it.
be some.
They
Have you
still-
tried wrapping burrito like Chipotle burritos?
No, that's an art.
No.
It is so freaking.
That is the art.
Yes. So
When- I've never tried
how
it.
subtle does
I
this
never tried it,
machine
but
have
there's-
to like?
I guess you know,
Oh.
spend my life when I think about art. You know, I think
No,
of
no.
Picasso,
No. Picasso.
Michelangelo.
No.
You know,
No. He has
burritos.
nothing
Burritos is not something
the
that comes
lady.
to mind when it
On the
comes.
lady who
Listen.
knows how to wrap the burrito without ripping it, that's a whole different level
And
of
like
expertise.
make it that big.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
those burritos are the size of your
Wow.
head. So as long as the size doesn't get compromised
My
in the
stomach is not
guacamole,
feeling well.
we're good.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't care. I mean, I feel like there's nothing. I have mixed feelings about this because I feel like a lot of jobs are going to be lost.
Machines are taking.
Machines
over.
are taking over the world.
Yeah.
I don't like that. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to fight against it. I mean, at the end of the day, think of how many things that we used to do by hands that machines do for us today. And we have
Things are
zero
changing.
issues
Like
with
Things
it.
are
remember
changing.
phone numbers.
Yeah.
Correct. You know,
Things-
so
things
I'm not
are
really
changing.
mad at that. And if anything, it's going to allow us to do way more important things than learning how to wrap burritos, so I don't mind, but it is going to be a transition that's going to be hard for people to go through, because it's not just Chipotle, it's all the fast foods. Imagine if all fast foods fire everybody, or 90% of the people tomorrow.
Well, you already
What would
have a
happen?
lot of McDonald's where you don't have anybody working the register.
Yeah,
This
correct.
is all automated.
So-
and you still have some people working the kitchen area, but
But a whole lot
completely
less.
automated.
Now it's
A
like
lot
two
less
people.
Yeah.
Before it used to be like 6, 7, 8 people.
Correct.
Now it's two people
Correct.
per. So I think it's going to be a big issue where, okay, what's going to happen to all these jobs, or how do you
Mhm.
replace them, or what are they getting replaced with?
Yeah.
So that's something we're going to have to figure out. But I have zero issues with the machine making my.
Well, let me tell you about another burrito we got wrapping up here right now. And the state of New Jersey has a big burrito being wrapped up.
That's funny.
Senator Bob Menendez got indicted. And he's being accused, and the indictment.
He was probably even paid in burritos, just so you know.
It looks like a guy that had a
The
couple,
bribes he
you know what I mean? So, secretly helping, the authoritarian government of Egypt is bribery charges, and the fact of the matter is that it appears, based on the allegations, remember, innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But based on the allegations, he was actively involved in interrupting a criminal investigation, and he was like moving, like actively involved. They found about $480,000 cash, envelopes, in different closets, inside clothes and stuff like that, with his name on it. By the way, this is like the most, just in case anybody, like if I'm the FBI, I said, well, it appears that I don't have to guess who does this belong to, right?
Yeah.
And then $70,000 cash also was found on his inside of his wife's safe deposit, Nadine Menendez. Mercedes-Benz C300, about $60,000, 5 to 6 kilos of gold. They had already reported a few of them that they sold.
Mhm.
I guess they didn't answer the question. So how did you get it? I know that you sold it and you got some cash for it, but how did you get
Correct,
it, right?
That's
And
funny.
by the way, this is the second indictment in 8 years. Also indicted, I think I mentioned before some of the names.
It's like $300,000,
Well
$400,000
handled.
in gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jose Uribe, Fred Dibes, and again, people from the government of Egypt are going to be investigated and potentially indicted. Not that it's going to make much of a difference, because nobody's coming here from Egypt to be able to deal with this whole thing, though. But here's the issue that I want to highlight, and this is not. So I'm curious to what's your take on this. My problem right now, Alexi, is that when you're looking at people that went from $0 to $20 million on a government salary, $0 to $400 million on a government salary. When you're looking at our current president potentially being investigated, and you're looking at the size of the houses, even Fauci went from $0 to $11 million, but that was after he left government, right? So it's not unusual.
Right.
It's not unusual,
It's not unusual to be.
But I don't know how much cash was waiting on his closet. You know what I mean?
Correct,
But
correct,
what I'm
correct.
saying is,
Yes.
that it's not unusual to see. Like, I'm not surprised that President Obama went from $0 to $80 million on the first book deal, right? Just because you expect that. You know what I
a good
mean?
way
It's
to watch.
waiting for the, hey, listen. You know what I mean? Because you can be saying, oh, Mark, he's only making $450,000 a year. Yeah, but watch what happens as soon as he comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The kind of deals that are going to be waiting
Yeah.
for them. But you are in the system. You are part of the system.
Yeah.
You are, and these are the levels of corruption that we. For me, this is normal.
Yeah.
And our, like, listen, the former
Only
president,
$470,000.
the former
Come on,
president
man.
of Honduras is right now in New York, arrested for drug trafficking. And I'm not talking about a couple of kilos. It wasn't 5 to 6. I'm talking about
Couple of
potentially
airplanes.
4,000 kilos of cocaine that he had something to do with,
People
and
from,
weapons.
people from
and all that.
Honduras do it big, right?
No, exactly. You know what I mean, it's like it's not gonna play around with this
Yes.
thing. But I am
Yeah.
deeply concerned
Correct.
that we now, and it's happening in front of our eyes. And again, it's talking about willful
Yeah.
denial.
Yeah.
Like people are seeing these things, And again, along party lines, I mean, they tried to justify it in the other guys, but Cuban descent, I mean, is a little painful because at some point this guy was almost like a national hero, what I mean? Because remember, you have those first generation of Cubans that went into politics, went into service, went into the army. So everybody that was part of that migration that came through the Cuban exile group, it was highly celebrated. This man was celebrated for many years, what I mean? But this is the second indictment, and this one doesn't look well. Everybody's saying, listen, he got off the first one, more than likely he's going to get off the second.
Right. Yeah. It's but like he needs some notes from Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders. That's for sure. It's like, and maybe cash and gold is not the way to go. Maybe you should try insider trading when it comes to you're making wealth as far as the corruption. Maybe they didn't let him in the loop on that.
Apparently.
No, I mean, all jokes aside, it really sucks. I mean, we know that these things are happening. The fact that it's being caught. I just don't think that anything is going to happen to this guy, if any, but
I think definitely nothing's going to happen to him. But here's what I'm getting from this: the fact that he had like the amount of cash he had on him, like in his pocket, in his car, in the closet, like to me he had zero any ideas in his brain that this was a problem. Like in his brain, he's like, I'm good. Everything that I'm doing is legal. Everything that I'm doing is fine. Or I've been doing this for so long to where I really don't care at this point. I'm above the law. Who's gonna stop me? Because you don't find envelopes with the person's name on it in the car and in your wife's coat. You get what I'm saying? Unless you're at the point now to where it's not even a big deal for you. So I think the biggest deal that I'm getting from this whole story is that for him is nothing. It's like a regular day. This is a regular day. Yep. My honey, check the closet in the back. Grab that box.
When you lose sight, when you lose sight between right and wrong, I mean, this is going to happen.
So like I said, it's unfortunate, but I think we just got to know that things like this happen. Things like this happen, and what does
But that's not just a question of this, because listen, there's always going to be a couple of people that are not playing by the rules. There's going to be always a couple of people that are not good people. The question is it because of social media? Is it because we're reporting more things these days? Is it happening more?
I think it's happening everywhere. I think
you don't see it increasing.
No, what I'm saying, I think social media is probably is highlighting it more. But what I'm saying is, I think no matter who we look at, there's some level of corruption. It's just that some people, like I think a good politician, maybe only like 10%, 20% corrupt, right? But a bad one is it's a lot worse. But there's zero of them who's like, oh, everything that I'm doing is by the book. I have zero skeletons in my closet. That don't exist. But I think
you mean a bad one will set up about 20 fake LLCs
that like so it's just
that will trickle down to different family members.
Correct. So some are worse than others.
About $20 million.
They sell art.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think some are worse than others, but I think we just got to know that's a part of it. But it's like damage control at this point. For you to find somebody who's 100% square on everything, it's not going to happen. But the problem is that people think that. Like, I think people are delusional about the fact that, things like this don't happen. Not in America. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Right.
Pay attention, because
I agree with you with the issue of across the board. You know what I mean? My thing is that, and that's my perception, I see these numbers getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's possible. It's possible. Yeah. And
Do you think it's more happening more or more being caught?
I think it's both.
A little bit of both. You know what I mean? A little bit of both. Because, guys, listen, it is getting to the point, to be quite honest with you, I mean, at this point, especially when it comes to banking and banking systems, they are choosing what to ignore. It's not that they don't know that it's happening or it's not happening. You know what I mean? Government chooses to. Last thing that I want to tell you, it looks like we're smoking a peace pipe. We're smoking something. I don't know what to tell you exactly what it is, but this book came out, and he wrote this book after he left Disney. Remember, the Bob Iger was a CEO of Disney, and left Disney for 2 years. Bless you. and then he came back.
Should mask
Right.
up.
This is by the way, this is actually a phenomenal book. But what is being reported right now is that they are going to go forward, potentially all the way up to even $30 billion investment, but at least definitely a $6 billion investment within the state of Florida. There is an olive branch that's being extended. He's doing right now what I expected him to do, coming back, based on what he put forward about the culture that he was able to understand, which is proactively as a CEO, as somebody who is responsible for the profits of the company, and also to keep their employees or his employees in the best way possible, and to keep them with the highest level of stability possible. Even though he had to do a lot of cleanup, a lot of layoffs, a lot of stuff, reaching out to the governor of the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis. I think is a very healthy thing to do. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that, and I hope that they do come to a very healthy solution, though. I'm closing with that, guys. Any final statements?
Well, he said something super relevant, and we've been talking about it for a while. This is not something that should be news to any of us, and it's the fact that culture wars are bad for business. He said it. We've said it in different ways, but is you get involved in the whole woke movement, the whole thing, you're bound to get burned. So the fact that he is being the grown up of the relationship and saying, "Hey, let me go ahead and see if we can do some of that stuff."
I think he
Respect
wants to
him.
keep the main thing. You know what I mean?
Which is business.
What are our products? What exactly are we? What is the experience that we offering to
Products
people?
for children.
You know what I mean? So
Whole other thing, but-
yeah.
For me, I think the biggest thing that I want to say for my last thing is, I think entrepreneurs run the world, and not only do we run the world, we need to take over the last piece of the world that we don't run, because that's going to be the answer to everything. When it comes to everything that's going on with the border, when it comes to what's going on with corrupt politicians, I think the answer is we need more entrepreneurs. We need more people like ourselves, where if you are somebody who has an opinion, you need to be an entrepreneur. You need to increase your income and increase your voice. So to me, that's the biggest thing. How do I either get connected with more entrepreneurs or become an entrepreneur myself? That's going to give me the biggest voice and the biggest opportunity to do the things that I want to do, within the country and within my family. So that, to me, that's the biggest thing. Entrepreneurship is the key. It is the answer. That's my take.
Awesome. For me, one of the things that I would say is we are a reflection of the books that we read. And so, reading different books and reading different even magazines and, well, not magazines, but like articles and stuff like that keeps you in the know. Here's the way that I think about it. We are a reflection of the books that we read. Reading a book, like that's why I brought up the whole Thomas Sowell conversation. I believe that guy has an incredible message, and even though he's like 900 years old,
he's not that old.
He keeps on putting books out there. And
hold on, before you even speaking of 900, I heard that somebody else got closer
it's
to 900.
aging aggressively.
I did hear about
this.
this.
I was gonna say, it's like this guy. Don't you see him? He's got less hair, more bellies, a lot more wrinkles.
No, seriously.
So, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You are not aging like
know
wine.
Marvin just turned 87, guys. He
Yeah.
just turned 87.
Fine.
So yes.
The wisdom comes from.
Let me shake some. Let me shake some hands with some people that are not here, right? Thank
So
you.
how does
Thank
it
you.
feel to be
Oh,
400 years old?
I just feel the wisdom pouring in.
Senior citizen
I go
card.
all over the place.
Yeah,
I'm
is that what it is?
really qualified.
But you get a lot of
for it,
discounts
but,
now, that's the good news.
I do. It's
Good
like,
news,
you know what I mean?
yep.
I walk into the place and,
AARP.
it's like, what do you
prefer-
have?
I prefer parking
AARP,
spot.
Your senior. I got
there
them
you go.
all.
I like
it, I like
it. So,
Just kidding. Happy birthday, though.
thank
for
you,
real. So,
guys. Appreciate it.
So yeah, books that you read, people that you surround yourself with is so important. Whenever, even listening to all of these people that are, and people are gonna say all of these people, but yeah, every couple of months you see 2 to 3 people merging, leaving the Democratic Party. What they're looking for is the associations.
Gotcha.
What they're looking for is the meetings that they're attending. What they're looking for is like there are some things here that are not clicking, and I hope that that's you too. I hope that you are finding you, the viewer, is the person that is saying, you know what, let me find my tribe. Let me find the people that I do want to connect with. Whichever thing that you can, if you're pro, you know, like, let's go ahead and, no, I'm not even going to say it, you know. But make sure that you are clear and you find a way to get more clarity about some of the positions and the things that you want to be connecting yourself to. And the way that you can do that is by way of reading different things, going to different meetings until you're able to find your tribe, and then go from that whole thing that is it Jordan Peterson, which is I know that I'm right versus how do I know that I'm right. So that's it. That will be my closing message, is that. And for the people that are aging aggressively, I hope that you know you can continue to do that.
Hopefully, he's still awake with us.
Yeah.
You know, no, but anyway, I definitely appreciate it, guys. But here's one of the things that I was thinking. You know what I mean? If you are not from Venezuela, if you're from one of these other countries, you know what I mean? There's a bunch of people saying, "Hey, what about me? What about us?"
Correct.
And you know, this is the kind of stuff that eventually you see different lawsuits coming in, and this is the kind of choices that just, instead of making the process better, just adds more confusion to a system that is already extremely dysfunctional and confused. And so I would love to see us getting to a different level. I know that in order to make those changes, we're gonna have to have a different wave of politicians coming into power. I don't want to see the usual suspects becoming a president of this country. Like, you
Nancy
need
Pelosi
to,
running again?
man. You know, and you definitely got to have different people with different ideas. This is not helping us. You know what I mean? We haven't even had a conversation about the economy for a while and where it's going and some of the concerns. And as we get to the end of September, because to be quite honest with you, I usually wait for the end of September to truly get a better pulse about the economy. But I am, you know, just like you, inviting everybody to continue to be part of the conversation. You know, stay away from mainstream media.
Correct.
There's a lot of phenomenal people out there that are having conversations that I believe, you know what I mean, even as we approaching a conversation of a difficult topic as immigration, or we're talking about the stuff that's going on with Disney, we're still doing it in a way that it's a balanced approach. You know what I mean? Like, I want this thing, for me, we had a lose-lose type of situation going on between Disney and the state of Florida.
Yeah.
But these are two entities, the state and the private industry. But with this specific company, it's not a good idea for us to be at war with each other. It doesn't help anybody. It's not healthy. People have the opportunity to prove their point. Now let's move on. Let's concentrate on business. That would be healthy for the state. That would be healthy for the people. And across the board, it's just a better idea to come together. And find a way to do better business, you know. But as far as everything else, guys, when it comes to the indictments and all those things, I will tell you, probably the second thing that I would be inviting everybody as we start getting closer to election time is, you know, just remember that your vote do matter. It's going to make a difference, and we need to represent or make it very clear that our position is going to be expressed through what we vote. We shouldn't have any political party whatsoever to be assuming or taking for granted, you know what I mean, the vote that anybody's putting forward. Crazy ideas that are not good for business, for family. They do not deserve to be supported in any way, shape, or form. And I'm hoping that, you know, I'm hoping that we gonna be leading into a different type of election, you know what I mean, just because there's a lot of different voices that are asking everybody to be a little more reasonable. Even for a younger generation right now, don't allow yourself to become indifferent, you know what I mean. This is a moment where try to understand and don't buy into the hype that you know, you gotta go along with a lot of these radical, crazy positions, because eventually you're gonna have to grow up and you're gonna have to say, what the hell was I thinking, all right? And so, and it's okay to have strong positions and to fight for your positions right now, but find the sources of information. Trust but verified, we always say, right?
Yeah.
And if somebody's promoting something on this side, just take a look at what is the opposite. You know, something fascinating. I'm going to close this because I'm actually going to do a reaction video about it. When I had a conversation with Patrick Bet-David about where he was going or what he was attempting to do, remember, he actually moved from Valuetainment. By the way, it's still going. Valuetainment is going very strong. Business, a lot of how-tos, a lot of great interviews. To the idea of going into the podcast was precisely to be able to do this. It's just that he's a million miles and 1,000 years ahead of us. You know what I mean? When it comes to what he wanted to accomplish was putting people together that have a strong different opinion about one specific issue, and let them hash it out and make the argument about who's right, who's wrong, or why do you defend your position. It's not even a matter of who's right or who's wrong. Here is why I'm defending my position. And that's a healthy thing to do. Because we don't have to agree, but at least it gives me a window. I get the chance to understand what is your opinion about a very specific issue. You know, he just recently had a religious debate, you know what I mean, between Muslims and Christians, and painful to watch, you know what I mean, because it's a difficult, depending on your position also, you know what I mean, and who do you think did better in certain cases, but that's such a healthy thing to witness, you know what I mean, and I'm hoping that we get to see more of that, you know what I mean. We were talking, and he said, I'm going to have a lot more of this happening from a political perspective, from a religious perspective. This is not new. I just want you to know that many years ago he was talking about, he said, because he literally said, we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I nothing but respect for the fact that realize that we don't have that. It's necessary. If nobody else is going to make it happen, I'm going to make it happen. So definitely we want to follow in those footsteps, you know what I mean. The purpose of a daily crossing is also an exchange of ideas. So we're working on that. But congratulations for making it happen. In the meantime, for everybody that has been part of this conversation today, maybe a little longer than usual, you know, thank you for being part of it, obviously.
Carried away with immigration.
Yeah, this whole immigration conversation, man, I'm telling you, it's never an easy one. But, you know, listen, we want to hear from you. What is your opinion about it? How do you feel? If you have to make some recommendations, you know what I mean? What are you concerned about, right? The things that you fear for the country, or things that you believe is not healthy. Also, if you do believe there is a better path, put it forward, because we want to make this part of the conversations that we have about every single one of the arguments. So thank you for being part of this conversation. Move it around. Move this video around.
Like, comment,
subscribe. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, comment. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
Right?
Fight it out.
Thank you.
Peace.